We are the nerds. We are the nerds of the apocalypse.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. I need to hear a little louder. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. I am Mike Nelson. I am 1/4, 5th, however many people we actually have in our group of Nerds of the Apocalypse. We're a local podcasting group. We do videos, we do streams, we do everything that everyone else does, but we're special because we're Columbia. Just saying. I am happy, very happy to be sitting next to two locals I love so dearly, as 2019 allows. We have Chuck Brown. Clap. There you go. And we have Sanford Greene. So today's panel is all about their hit comic book, Bitter Root. Which I'm still sad that every time we do a panel with you guys, where's David?
In a cave somewhere. David is halfway across the universe, dealing with other matters that he cannot speak of. So there you go.
That's NDA right there. I like that.
That's some nerd stuff. Right? He's actually working on volume 2 right now as we speak.
Yeah.
We should be looking. I should be getting issue 6 here.
Send it to me. I'll over it and add my 2 cents. I'll send it to you.
That's usually how it works. I wait patiently because I'm a very patient person.
No, he's not.
And I will wait, and he will send me the script. And it usually is darn near perfect. And then I draw it for a month and a half.
And then he'll email us why I gotta draw this because we make it send it to me. Classic stuff.
So what he's doing is he's interpreting what I'm saying really in my head. I say
He's your loose, really angry translator.
yeah.
That's exactly what's going on right now.
That's what happens. I'll say the cordial things, and then he interprets it, out loud. That's pretty much our stick.
So, I know everyone here, who actually is here, has read the book, right? Yeah. But for the row,
This is my lovely family, y'all. Give it up for my family. My sister cousin flew all the way from Miami just for this panel. I'm just kidding.
there's 2 more.
Say it again.
I think it's like 1 or 2 more. So she has a whole weekend full of Sanford panels.
Oh, will be, yes. All right. We're doing this again tomorrow. I look forward to it.
That's right.
So you interpret that. What does that mean? What does that mean? When I say I look forward to it.
He hates everything. That's
So Chuck, as one half of the writers, break down what happened in Bitter Root this volume.
This volume, basically there is an unseen entity that's trying to enter the Harlem neighborhoods, and our family is basically trying to combat that evil. One of the evil is basically Dr. Sylvester. Dr. Sylvester is basically a victim of hate himself, so he becomes a different kind of monster. And he's basically just trying to, in his own twisted way, bring equilibrium to the inequalities in the world. But as he does that, he's opening up this void, and all these monsters and creatures are going through in Harlem. And basically, our team has to fight them back. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to see it. But basically, something happens to one of our main characters that changes him dramatic.
No, dramatically is a word. It's okay.
Dramatic.
You're a writer.
Dramatic.
Sounds right.
Dramatic.
Drastically. We can clean that. Issue 6.
So speaking of Dr. Sylvester, he mentioned the incident multiple times with his, I'm going to go with his lab partner, about Tulsa 1919. I know I'm asking for a little bit of a sneak peek here. Are we ever going to find out what actually happened in Tulsa in 1919?
We have a book out now called the Red Summer Special that basically not only lays out Dr. Sylvester's origins, but also talks about some of the other characters' origins as well, how they are, some things that basically were unhappy answered in the arc. So if you want to find out, come to our tables and get the Red Summer Special.
Good. I was about to ask where can I get that, because that was not at the comic store
Yeah.
when we do your signing. So I was like, oh, where's that?
They're at our table here.
We bought them from all the stores and we want to resell them, mark up the price.
That's how you do it.
Because that is, we're in a capitalist society. So
That's all true. We used to be honest.
So, but it bridges the gap between volume 1 and leading us into volume 2. So it's a good buffer for those who wait patiently for our return, which will be winter.
So if you got to the end of the first arc and like, what the heck happened, definitely get the Summer Special to find out what happened.
And yeah, so Sanford, as the artiste that you are, even talking through Power Man and Iron Fist, you love just clothing. And how did you go through the process of actually creating the clothing and even the weaponry that our heroes are using? I can never actually pronounce her last name. How do you pronounce her last name?
Sangria.
Sangria, okay. Put that.
Everyone say it with me. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Sangria. So now tell all your friends, because I get everything from sangria to whatever.
Sangria?
Sangria.
Sangria.
But a lot of it is, I think David came up with the name of the family. We had different names like, kind of easy to pronounce, like Jackson. That's a little too on the nose, you think? So we wanted to, he had the idea of making the name something that makes you stop and try to just process, well, what does this mean? What did it derive from? I think it works because it makes people actually have conversations like, hey, I read your book. How do you pronounce that name? And now we got like these book clubs all over the country that are looking up the name Sangria because it's derived from, it's like a Creole, it has some roots in that area, and it's just yet another layer that we're placing on Bitterroot to help fans, just kind of dig deeper, because it's more than just, cool characters, which I will talk about my design since it's just
We'll
more
get
than
there.
that. Yeah, we'll get there eventually. I'm trying to build a big picture.
See, he's an artist, but the story building he's doing, he's a writer.
I write with pictures. But I think when Chuck had kind of the initial overall idea about the whole Harlem Renaissance thing, I started to do some research. And, Chuck will tell you, he pitches ideas to me a lot.
Here we go.
I don't really listen to a lot of it. But this one time he said something about the Harlem Renaissance, and I'm like, that's not a bad idea. And we were working.
You don't suck today.
So at that moment, he did not stop that. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna do some research. And it was really fascinating to realize that not only is the story of the Harlem Renaissance just rich in history itself, there's how should I say this? There's a million different stories within the Harlem Renaissance. So it's kind of like, man, we got so much to play with here. The ground is super fertile. And I just started sketching because of that. I got inspired, started sketching. Of course, the clothing, the fashion, a lot of that stuff you see kind of play out even in today's fashion. So I started to look at even what I see, in fashion, current fashion, mix it in with from that time period. And then, for whatever reason, I started thinking to myself, let's play around with some fantastical stuff, because that time period was very fantastic. So that's when I started playing with steampunk and magic, those different genres, and showed Chuck, and he was like, "Whoa, you actually drew something that I you know, an idea that I had. And I'm like, yeah, why are you surprised? Of course, he just told you why he was surprised.
You know why I'm surprised.
So once we started working, you know, we started to talk a little more about that. And me and David Walker, we were still working on Power Man and Iron Fist at the time. And I said to Chuck, I think David would be perfect to bring in for something like this because he's a rich musician. He really understands just all things dealing with the culture and things of that nature. We called him up and told him what we were thinking about. And Power Man and Iron Fist, truth be told, we started writing on the wall. It's no secret that Marvel is, you know, the corporate company. Corporate comics is what it pretty much is. You don't own that stuff. We created a lot of things there, especially with Luke Cage, and we didn't get to finish a lot of that stuff. And guess what we did? We took those ideas and we put them into Bitterroots. Now, yeah, it's not, you know, corporate ownership by the mouse. That's what I call it. But you know, just dealing with, you know, that whole thing. It was honestly a blessing in disguise because we were able to hold on to those ideas, and now, like I said, we're able to use those ideas for ourselves, and hopefully, you know, red carpet someday.
One day. So, especially in today's climate, to say the least, this book came out almost at a perfect opportunity because as we're all facing everything that's going on in the world right now, especially here in America, you put a face, you put a face on the hate, and made it into an actual living creature. Like, how did you guys, I mean, Chuck, especially when you were writing this, and even the characters having to face it, the first issue was literally, don't shoot. That was the first words, like, we can explain. And yeah, it was like, I looked at it, so I'm like, oh my God, this is comical. It was comical. And then it turned into that whole situation.
It goes back to this being collective. It's a true collaboration between all of us. Because originally it was, you know, like I said, Dr. Sylvester was created by hate. And that was basically his mission to be the great equalizer. Right? And that was basically how he was driven by that hate. And we brought David on board. And he was like, hey, what if we made the monsters, you know, basically driven by hate as well? Awesome. And just kind of expand from there, not just to Dr. Sylvester, but to the whole world and how these villains basically manifest themselves.
And I think to that point, I think we also started looking at just different levels of that. You know, you look at cultural situations right today. You know, hate is not just some blanket, you know, thing. It's very nuanced. It can come in different forms, and it comes in different cultures. You know, cultures within cultures. And we started to even play around with that concept, and you know, even doing the research. A lot of things that we were researching. I know for me personally, just from a visual standpoint, just having to depict this, and we thought, you know, some of it, honestly, just kind of being truthful with it, it was extremely hard to look at in terms of reference, especially dealing with Tulsa, you know, 1919 and that time period. But I think it's the saying, I think it's Mary Poppins. I think she said something like, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down better. And we thought, you know, let's use this fantastical element and use that as a cloak to kind of help tell these really hard stories. And honestly, we've gotten feedback from every walk of life because it is impacting every walk of life. It's not just, you know, us, it's everyone. I'm going to tell this story because I think this room is a nice, safe room to tell the story. And he was there when it happened at Heroes Night.
Oh yeah, truck.
Yeah, so this guy came up, Caucasian gentleman. He had a camouflage hat on, see the expression. He was like, oh. Yes, camouflage hat with torn off sleeves on his shirt. And he came up and he's looking at our table. And he said, you guys created this? And I'm like, yes, we did. And he said, I love it. And you should have seen the look on his face. You should have seen the look on my face. Wow, you know, but he was super impacted. He's a trucker. And on his trips, he would, stop to wherever he's at, pick up an issue, and he started telling his other trucker friends. So now he has a little book club of truckers reading this book. And that's like, again, it really empowered me. And I told Chuck, well, Chuck, you were there.
Oh, yeah.
You were there. And
He came back actually after that. He came back and get some books.
and get more books signed. And it really helped us to see that, let's not, because at first we were like, okay, this stuff is pretty hard hitting, how do we tell this without, alienating or making people feel, because again, we're in a very polarized society right now. If you sneeze the wrong way, they're ready to point and blame and all these other things. And, but we decided, the one way to tell it is to tell it. Can't sugarcoat this stuff. Again, even though I said a spoonful of sugar mixed up, but we're telling it in a way that allows people to still experience the realness of it, but then we have these other elements to help to escapism to some degree. But it helps to have those kind of dialogue, like with something like the conference. And there's many other stories like that.
I mean, he basically, the way he described that gentleman, seeing people like that, personally, I get kind of tense. Like, who is this person? How they approaching me? And honestly, on the other side, they see a large black man with his hat on backwards, they may get nervous too, who knows, So I was at,
Are you speaking about me right now?
No, not you, some other guy, some other large black man next to me. But I was at a signing here in Columbia, and, one of these gentlemen kind of came up. It was like several of them. And I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to explain to them what this book is about and see their reaction, So they come up to me and they say, hey man, is Bert gonna be all right? I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be all right.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
And they bought books, signed the books, and they just, the book needs to be out right now. I think it's really helping to cross the borders and open some minds, because like you said, we have this huge message in there. We also have this amazing story that people want to see, but as they're reading the story, maybe it's changing their lives somewhere, changing their perspective on life,
And I think the other part of it too is like each character, each family member of Bitterroot, we're very intentional to make them individuals, but also show how those individuals really are one, which is a family, and how we all have families that got the crazy uncle, right? Everyone has a crazy uncle, but you love them anyway, right? You may not have them around all the time, but you will definitely when the time is right. So we got that element there. We have the elements of the wise, sage grandmother. We have the elements of the strong-willed, younger generation. We have all these different elements, and a lot of it, honestly, I think is what really brings these cross cultures together, because every culture has that, right? So now you got, I call it the 7-layer cake. That's what it really is. You got a lot of good things there within this thing that's really not that good for you. You don't want to eat a 7-layer cake all the time, but you know that it's enough there for you to enjoy, and then when those hard moments come, you got this other stuff that will just help you just to stay, grounded, and you can identify with everyone else's situation.
For me, I guess it was about empowerment for this book. Of course, family, but and I think for Sanford it was mostly about family, seeing this black family together, fighting. And I think for David it was about racial injustice. So I think all of that kind of came together and just made something that none of us expected would be that touch this many people.
We had a meeting the other night, and we looked at what our notes from volume 1, like before we started the whole series, we had who the main characters are, where we wanted to go, and by the end of that volume, we went back and we started to review everything, and it's like something totally different now. Like, oh my God, now this person is like the standout, this character, this direction we're seeing them go. It's like, it was so organic, you know, and I think that's ultimately, I don't know if anyone wants to write or draw or whatever, create. A lot of it really is about just letting it flow. You know, sometimes you try to, like, oh, I want to be here, I want to make it work right here, but sometimes you just let it go and just see if it works. And more than likely, if you put something out there that's based on something personal, 9 times out of 10, it will connect with someone because they're feeling or experiencing those same things.
And the characters, I mean, they go through a lot, basically, to achieve their goals. You know, there's a lot of trials and tribulations, and don't get it twisted. It's an organic process, but we get into those nerves a lot. You know, but we go be.
That's only you, brother.
No, it's not.
It's only you.
I'm translating.
I'm translating. We're a happy family.
But you know, in the end, we've been able to make this amazing product. You know, and that's what's I think that's what's makes the book so special. You know, part of that fighting, part of that argument, part of that kind of understanding each other and what we want out of this book.
I think the other thing too is, I'm sorry, we're just going to take over.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No more questions. We're going to just talk. We're going to have a fireside chat here. But I think one of the things, they want to gather around, children. Maybe crisscross that or something. But I think with what we are doing right now, it really is unprecedented because the industry, again, is, you know, laying it out there. It's not a whole lot of creative teams that are all black with a book that is based on black characters on a mainstream level. You know, we've had the pleasure of entering spaces like we got nominated for an Eisner Award. I don't know if you guys are familiar. That's like the Oscars for comic books. We got nominated. Our first 5 issues out, and we got nominated for it, which was pretty awesome. And so we were at the Eisners. We were looking around like, wow, we're fish out of water right now. I mean, you know, you see all these luminaries.
And in the middle of the room, too.
Yeah, we really were in the middle of the room. Yeah, it was like, you know, spotlight was on us. Hey, look, there they are, guys.
They do exist.
You said, what?
They do exist.
They do exist. But that's the thing, it's like we realize the responsibility that we have. We're kind of opening the door because that door it's been Fort Knox trying to get in, especially from the independent side. Yeah, you know, anyone can create it, but then to do it and to push through these doors where you're now being recognized on that level, and the staying power, you know, is to be consistent. Because unfortunately, we're kind of a microcosm of like entertainment in general. Like you see the movie industry, the TV industry. Representation is like, you know, that's a hot topic right now. You know, again, that's another side of what's happening in our society. And people are looking, they're like, we want these things, we need these things, we need to see ourselves in these spaces. And the gatekeepers, the powers that be, if you will, you know, truth be told, it's a foreign land to them as well. How do we connect with this new zeitgeist, if you will? I mean, because that's what it is. It's this movement that's happening, and the industry is trying to adjust somewhat. They're resistant in a lot of ways because the traditional hero is being redefined. You know, your cape and cow characters they're not obsolete, but they definitely aren't as major anymore. like the market is starting to do the shift, and we're kind of at the front of that. And hopefully we can stay long enough to bring in this other great comic series that are coming up right now that we're trying to support, because we realize that we got a special position right now that we're trying to be responsible for.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Now you can speak.
So for everyone out there who got the single issues every week that they came out?
Every week? Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Sorry. And then who got the trade? Okay. Yeah, I did too. So I'm pretty sure everyone read the amazing, after you of course read the book, we had this nice epilogue. I'm not really sure even what to call it, but it was basically essays.
Oh yeah, back matter.
Yeah. So whose idea was to put that in there, and why was that so important that you guys wanted to add that to your books?
David and John Jennings have been talking about it for a while, and John Jennings approached us with it, and as soon as he said it, I fell in love with the idea. And like he said, there's so many different layers to the story. I think the scholars in the back kind of give us some context. Kind of brought it to life, kind of brought it into reality. You know, it's not just fantasy, but we're actually living these things actually happen. So I think that was very important to add that.
John Jennings is he's an educator at the University of San Diego. He's all over the place. He used to be in Buffalo, Chicago, and I've known John for a while. He spoke at USC last year for was it a comics and cultural?
Yeah.
With
Kiana, the director of African Studies.
Yeah, she's the director of African American Studies at South Carolina, and I've known him for a long time. So he reached out to us and said, "Hey, what you guys are doing, you know, like all the stuff you said before. This is kind of like it has so many great attributes to it. This thing can really hit the educational side of it, and I would love to see if I can help, you know, bring you guys into those spaces." And we were super open to that. And the whole idea of the essay thing, once he, you know, laid that out to us, it was a no-brainer. And I was at the National Librarian Conference in DC a month ago. We sold out in like 2 hours, the books, because 90% of those librarians saw those essays. And I'm like, that's the golden ticket. To be able to reach that space. And now, you know, our books are hitting, you know, middle school, high school, and college. We're actually planning next year a historical black college tour where we're going to be signing, speaking at several universities. We're going to start at Benedict College where I reside, and we're just going to expand from there. We'll do other universities too. We're pretty intentional about going to those spaces because that audience is starving for this kind of thing. And unfortunately, going full circle back to what I said about how the industry is in a bubble, and that bubble needs to break. A lot of, 9 times out of 10, it's like, I call it the Black Panther syndrome. Like when the movie came out, I had people reaching out to me going, I didn't realize Black Panther existed. I love that movie, you know, and it's like, how did you not know? And then it dawned on me, they don't read these comics, but they got familiar with the movie because the movie, you know, of course, the promotion and things of that nature. And I'm like, okay, we got our work cut out for us because they were all excited. Everyone wants to know, is there anything else out there like that? I'm like, well, there will be. There's this book called Black Panther, Bitterroot that we're working on. And people were super excited about that. But again, I was in spaces that wasn't your traditional space to talk about those things. So I reached out to David and Chuck and John. We said, how can we get this thing to the masses in that capacity? So that's how we came up with idea to do this college tour.
I mean, comics are already like a foreign world to most people. And I think the essays kind of help bridge that gap because we educate them within the pages of the book, but we also educate them within the essays as well. And we have people actually interested in teaching our book in their classes, like Kiana here at USC.
We had an educator from the University of Michigan reach out to us about how he is using the book. There's tons of stories like that, different on the collegiate level, high school level. I'm actually about to do. There's a young leaders club at local high school, not high school. I think it's like middle school. They ordered 40 books for children that were exceptional at reading. And again, it's just in these spaces like that, you know, there's not a whole lot of, you know, you can put Batman in that space, sure, but to put something like that in those spaces is, again, I think we're just hitting some uncharted waters here, and it's pretty exciting.
All right, we're gonna open this up to the floor. Who has questions?
Right.
Yes, sir.
As far as the publishing goes, did you guys shop around to several publishers, or were you like, no, Images is the company for us, and were they pretty amicable right away?
So we were in a pretty unique place. Me and David Walker were at Marvel, and we were wrapping up Power Man and Iron Fist, which is Luke Cage for you guys that aren't comic aware. And he was wrapping up a few other projects there. I was doing some Black Panther stuff. And we just started writing on the wall. And I had already had a conversation with Eric Stevens, who's the president of Image. And honestly, I didn't think of anyone else. It was like, this Image or bust. It's like, why would you, in my mind, again, it's kind of giving you kind of the whole, how the industry is right now. Image Comics is the only publisher on a major level that gives you 100% ownership. There's nothing else like that out there. Now, again, with that, there's some sweat equity that you have to put into it because they handle, for the most part, the publishing side of it, but you're the engine that makes it go. We have to bring in our own editors, our own, you know, whatever, promoters or whatever. But that's kind of a low, you know, deal to me because I own it. So why wouldn't you want to have your hands in all of that and make sure it goes the way that you want it to go? Because, you know, even Chuck can tell you, when you work at corporate companies, we have all these great ideas, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to be different by the time it hits the shelf. And we're never truly happy, completely happy with it. I was never completely happy with working on Power Man Iron Fist. As much as those characters were my childhood, you know, heroes, idols, or whatever, editorial got involved in, you know, it's all the corporate stuff, and we got whatever, sponsorships, and all these other, you know, branches that you got to be concerned about, even the dreaded crossover when even working on Power Man Iron Fist, they had a big crossover at Marvel. We had to be careful that we didn't pull in certain characters because they were occupied in some other event. So we had to be so conscious of that stuff. So it was just a no-brainer to me that we go there because we can do what we want to do and we can walk away knowing that we did an absolute fullest, you know, work, you know, at Image, and the fact that we own it, which is great.
Yes, sir.
You talked a little bit at the beginning about process. So do you like only script and then the art comes from that, or is there more of a back and forth as the issue is generated?
First, we generally do a full, very detailed outline of every issue. after I do the outline, I send it to David and he does the script. Basically, he sends the script back to me, and I either add dialogue and say, hey, I don't know about this. We kind of go back and forth. And then we send it to Sanford, and he reads the script, and he's like, hey, I don't know if I can draw this, or what does this mean? And then he kind of start drawing from there. But this really starts out with a very detailed outline. I mean, back in the day, I used to just hit the page running. But nowadays, I kind of like to plot everything out so I know what's on. Maybe even add dialogue to the outline sometimes, and then kind of go from there.
I think the other side of it too, and I'll share this. I think bringing David in because he's had experience. He's been around longer than both of us in terms of publishing, and we thought it would be great because he has that experience as well. He can edit. He's somewhat of our editor to some degree as well.
Don't tell him that.
He told himself that already, so too late. I'm gonna be the editor. I'm like, all right, knock yourself out. But still getting paid the same thing, though, buddy. No upgrade. But you know, yeah, it's pretty much that same deal, and he's really good. I think he even helped Chuck understand just the process of how to break down scripts, you know, and allow it to breathe, give it, you know, because we could go super action every page, but it doesn't really benefit the overall story. I would love to do that, because I like to draw cool, crazy stuff, but, you know, he's really good at helping pace that stuff. So, all right, let's make sure that when we do the action, it's going to really count, it's going to resonate to the reader. So, and that also has helped me learn how to pace, how to tell from the visual standpoint. I even thought about, I didn't say this to you yet, but thought about doing like a couple of pages where there was like 9 panels on a page, and they're all the same size. And it might be just one story. It could be 2 people sitting down having coffee, but to be able to do this beats. I saw something about storytelling earlier this month that really fascinated me about just how to tell stories. It's by this artist, educator, David Mazzucchelli. I don't know if he did Batman Year One. He's pretty incredible artist and teacher. So the way he broke it down, I'm like, that would be kind of cool to be able to do that kind of storytelling, you know, in our story.
Go for it.
So, between each of you, what was your biggest influences and kind of brought you to where you are now from other people that inspired you to be on the path that you're on? I know that you had mentioned particular artists that you kind of fond of. What about your writing, history, and what kind of influences throughout life kind of pushed you in that direction? Or guiding you?
Honestly, for me, it was just trauma, you know, being bullied, not having a lot of friends, using alcohol. I still don't have any.
I was going to say, they laughed at that. You got no friends.
Using animation and comics as an outlet, and then over time I started writing my own and creating my own, and it's all just sounds like therapy for me. And it's just one of those things where you just kind of fall in love with something, even though sometimes it don't love you back, and you just keep coming back. And never thought I'd get this far, but I just couldn't stop doing it because it's a part of me. So here I am. Those are probably more pretty and lovely in the fantasy. So that's my dark and painful.
I don't know how to follow that up right now. No, I for me, just from an artistic standpoint, just when I was a kid, I was fascinated with a lot of the cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons, when they existed. I would wake up bright and early, 6:30, 7, because, okay, I'm going to show my age right now. In the comic books, they would have this spread for Saturday morning cartoons. This guy's not his age, that's right. And I would go, oh, that's a new cartoon, that's a new one. And I would literally, that's my guide to Saturday morning. So I would get up with this comic book, spread open, sit Indian style on the floor, look for each, show that's represented on the comic, and I'm turning the channels because they only had 3 channels back then. So you could just go, you know, CBS, ABC, that, you know, NBC, that's it. And that was the thing that opened the gate for me. And then I went to the local Kmart one day when those existed. Man, nothing exists anymore. And I saw the Glorious Spinneret. I didn't know what it was. I just saw some drawing, cool looking, colorful stuff. I went to it and I saw Spider-Man, and the floodgates open, the heavens parted, and I was just like, this is amazing. My mom left me there to go shopping. This is when you can do that kind of thing back then. They left me right there. She came back and she was like, you really are fascinated with this stuff. I'm like, uh-huh. And I asked her, could I have one? She said, only if you would promise me that you would read it. And boy, she did not know when she was right to start. And that's how it pretty much started for me. So.
I just read, and I went to Stream. Oh, this isn't about me, I'm sorry.
I said Stream.
Yeah, I'm a video gamer, that's all I do now. Damn, rest in peace to Old Biscuit. So that's it for us. We're gonna chill out for probably another 10 minutes. And
Let's go ask questions.
Yeah, this also allows everyone to, if you guys want to sign. And,
Oh, sure. That sounds good. We can all leave and come back to our table.
well, no, I just say you can sign stuff here, and then we can leave.
What are we going to sign?
You got pencil right there.
What are we going to sign?
I don't know, they got stuff.
Do you guys have stuff here for
They got
us?
shirts.
Sign your shirt.
Oh, y'all didn't bring a pen.
Just come to
I was going to say, come to our table. We'll take care of you.
We'll take care of you.
This was your idea last week when we talked about it.
It probably was. It probably was.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Hey, we should all do a selfie together.
There you go. It's not my generation. Even though you two are my generation.
I just learned how to do this, and bear with me, it's going to be all fucked off. How do you reverse the camera? How do you move?
Oh my God, I'm scared again.
Good night.
Everybody's staring at the center.
Short one in the back. Who's that right there? Is that Brother Batman?
Do you want me to hold this so it's a little higher?
I told you I'm not an expert.
Wow.
All right, and that's a wrap, folks. Thank you for coming.
Cut the chit chat and log on. We are the nerds. We are the nerds of the apocalypse. Yep, we are the nerds. We are the nerds. We are the nerds of the apocalypse. We are the nerds. We are the nerds of the apocalypse. We are the nerds. We are the nerds of the apocalypse. If it don't confuse the podcast.